How's it, everybody? Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another Richard's Rock Rambles on a very wet and cold winter's night here in Cape Town. But we need the rain. It's been a very dry winter thus far, and we don't want to get to another day zero scenario where all the dams are pretty much down to zero. The rain is welcome, and I believe tomorrow it's going to be even another cold front hitting us, so even more rain. But hey, as long as you're safe and dry and you've got good music, nothing wrong with winter. So I thought I'd do a video on music that I've been listening to lately from my collection over the past couple of weeks. And we'll see what we have. It's mostly CD. My turntable needs a bit of a service. It's been playing silly buggers, and it needs a bit of a clean up and what have you. It was also invaded by an army of ants, so that didn't help things. So the whole thing's got to be opened up and cleaned out and what have you. And I think I need a new stylus as well. And things need maintenance, I guess. So it's been mostly CDs that I've been listening to. There's one vinyl that I still managed to listen to way back. Before everything fell apart here. But anyway, that's just besides the point. So got some great music lined up here. As is my want, whatever mood takes you, whichever direction, whether it's heavy or whether it's a bit lighter or whatever, jazz perhaps, or some psychedelic stuff, whatever mood I'm in, that's what I listen to. So let's get stuck in, shall we? Yes, and that's my cat saying hello. She might want to get her face on the camera just now. She's very nosy. So the first one we're going to check out is Pink Floyd's Obscured by Clouds. Now, this album doesn't get enough love, and I think it's mainly because this isn't an actual studio album. Well, it is a studio album, and they had to go in the studio to do it, but it's not one of the official studio albums like Dark Side of the Moon and Animals and Wish You Were Here and whatever. This was actually a soundtrack for a movie called The Valley, or La Vallée. I think in French that was what it was called. And it came out in 1972. So 72, if I'm not mistaken, was the same year as Dark Side of the Moon. So I think this was just before or just after, I'm not too sure. But there's some great music on here. And you talk about David Gilmour's guitar work. There is some stellar stuff from him on here. If that's what you're into. I mean, and his guitar sound is such an integral part of Pink Floyd's sound, or has been for many years. Definitely back in the early 70s. So, how many tracks are on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tracks. 1972, The Gramophone Company Limited, produced by Pink Floyd. Starts off with the track Obscured by Clouds. That's written by Waters and Gilmour. When You're In, Burning Bridges. And one of my favorite tracks, I actually put it on my radio show just for this week now. The Gold, It's in the ... And that's the title of the track. Some excellent guitar on there, and it's funny beat to it as well. Almost like a funky kind of track. A lot of different styles on this record. Very different to Dark Side of the Moon, which is obviously like a concept kind of album. Then another good track, What's the Deal? What's the Deal is the name of the song. Some really strange titles on here. And then Mudmen finishes off side 1. Then you get to side 2, Childhood's End, Free 4. I think I need new glasses. Stay, and Absolutely Curtains is the final track, and I think that's about the longest track on here at 5 minutes and 49 seconds. And that's written by Waters, Gilmour, Wright and Mason. So all the others are written by either David Gilmour or Roger Waters, or Waters, Gilmour together. I think I see Rick Wright also. So Rick Wright's here on keyboards, obviously, Nick Mason on drums, Roger Waters on bass and vocals, and David Gilmour on guitar and vocals. A really nice album. And I must say the production on this is also pretty good. This is an import vinyl, which I I got many, many years ago. I'm not sure if this has been given a deluxe treatment yet. I mean, so many Floyds have. I mean, they've reissued Dark Side of the Moon about 1,000 times. So maybe they'll get around to this one day. I know Animals was done recently as well, and I think pretty much all the other studio albums have been given the deluxe treatment. So I don't know if there's anything left over from these sessions. There usually is something left over. That's the back there. There's a few shots from the movie, obviously. I'm not too sure if that's in New Zealand or somewhere that they shot this. I must do some more research about this. It's pretty bog standard on the Harvest label. There we go. Harvest, which was an offshoot of EMI. I think it was sort of the sort of not prog, but the kind of not run-of-the-mill releases was going to be on Harvest. Specialized label, let's call it that. So that was my first bit of listening. Next up, band from Wales, which I've mentioned numerous times on the channel. That being the band Budgie, and one of their great early albums called Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. Ain't that the truth? Excuse me, I just want to have a sip of coffee here. There we go. Not many tracks. There's only 7 tracks on here. Some of them are fairly lengthy. Who's in the lineup? Of course, Burke Shelley on bass and vocals. Burke Shelley passed away about 2 years back, I think, with that distinctive high vocals of his. Tony Borge on lead guitar, acoustic guitar and vocal. Amazing riffs on this album. You know, the particular style, Tony Borge. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's also passed on. And then behind the kit on this particular album was a guy called Ray Phillips. And the drum stool did change in the first couple of albums. There were different people that played. Produced by Budgie, 89, yeah, but that's on the Repertoire Records label. So this is a reissue. I'm trying to remember what year did this originally come out. It must have been 70, so 73. There we go. There's the CD there. And this album cover, you should recognize the artwork. Yes, that's Roger Dean. Did a lot of the Yes stuff and a whole bunch of others. Babe Ruth, and oh god, too many to mention. But he did this one. There's the full shot. Quite cool that, I think. Be a nice screensaver for a computer. And there's a picture of the guys inside. There's Ray Phillips on drums. There's Burke Shelley on bass on vocals. Tony Borge on guitar. Boy, this right. The only thing with CDs, I hate the writing is so small, and you know, with my failing eyesight and all the rest of it. Burke Shelley, bass and vocals, Tony Borge, lead guitar, acoustic guitar and vocal, Ray Phillips drums, sorry. Produced by Budgie, and there's the lyrics to the songs, some of the songs over there. So what are the tracks on here? And there's the first track is a very well-known track. It's got a very distinctive riff to start the track, that being Bread Fan. I'm not sure if Metallica covered that track. I know they did a few others of Budgie's. But yeah, that became a pretty big hit for them. Probably one of the biggest hits they had, Bread Fan. Then they do a cover, and this track has been done by numerous people. I think AC/DC have done it, and a whole bunch of others. Baby, Please Don't Go. Not a bad version, not my favorite track on the album. I mean, it's been done to death by everybody. So, anyway, that's the second track. Then there's a beautiful song on here that just shows you what Budgie could do. They could do the heavy stuff. You know, the real riff-based, doom-laden stuff, because a lot of their stuff was as heavy as Sabbath in the early days. But then you'd get the sort of ethereal kind of song with acoustic guitar, and his vocals are stunning on this track. You Know I'll Always Love You. In fact, some of the notes he gets on that song are quite amazing. So that's track 3. Then Houses for I love their song titles. They just had unusual song. You're the Biggest Thing Since Powdered Milk. There we go. Not sliced bread, powdered milk. So that's track number 4. That's quite a cool track as well. And one of the riffier tracks, In the Grip of a Tire Fitter's Hand. If you're going to call a song anything, why not call it that? Riding My Nightmare is another mellow track. Some great singing as well from Burke Shelley. His vocals on this album was outstanding. And then for me, the best track, the lengthiest track on the album, a song called Parents, with some really great lyrics about growing up and what have you. The song starts off quite mellow, and it builds and builds. It gets in some nice guitar work from Tony Borge as well. There we go, Budgie. Never turn your back on a friend. If you haven't collected any of Budgie's music yet, this is a good place to start. I reckon the first 5 or 6 albums are essential. Some of their stuff in the 80s, for me, it was a bit sort of generic after a while. The 70s is what you need to get hold of. There we go, Budgie. Next one is a greatest hits, and I don't really go for greatest hits. I tend to try and collect each album of a band or solo artist. But this is a fairly cool collection. One of the bands that came out of New Wabham. What the hell is New Wabham, you may ask? The new wave of British heavy metal, that whole scene that happened in the UK in the late 70s, early 80s, also resurrected a few of the older bands' careers like Black Sabbath and Judas Priest and Motorhead. So I'm talking about a band called Saxon. There we go. The Best of Saxon, one of the numerous compilations that have come out over the years of Saxon. There are a few notable exceptions, tracks that have been left out off this compilation from EMI Records, which came out in 1991. And one of the ones that was left off here is Wheels of Steel. And to me, that was one of the bigger hits. But I suppose it maybe had to do with labels and rights and what have you. But let's see what's on here. And there's some great tracks on here. Classic Saxon. The Eagle Has Landed starts off. Ride Like the Wind. Yes, that's the Christopher Cross track that Saxon did. I'm not too sure why they did that track. It's okay. It's not bad, but it's not something that I would have thought Saxon would have gone for. But anyway. Then there's the title track from the album Crusader, which is that became a big hit. The Rainbow Theme, Frozen Rainbow. That was from their very first album, just called Saxon. Midas Touch from Power and the Glory. Power and the Glory is one of our favorite Saxon albums. And that was a really good track. Denim and Leather, all about the heavy metal dudes, going to see the bands. But very much a people's band, Saxon. So that's Denim and Leather. Then Broken Heroes, Dallas 1 p.m., which was pretty much all about the assassination of Mr. Kennedy, the president. Another big hit for them, 747, Strangers in the Night, and you get the live version on here, which is really cool. Another live track, Princess of the Night. And then you get And the Band Played On, Never Surrender, This Town Rocks, which is a really up-tempo track with some great drumming to it. I think if Nigel Glockler was in the band at that stage. I think he was. Because the original drummer was, what was his name? Went on to play for Motorhead. That's not going to come to me now. So Glockler was the guy that took over, and he's still with the band. Saxon's still touring today, still doing their thing. Then you get Strong Arm of the Law, also a live track. And the last live track is Heavy Metal Thunder, another barnstorming track from Saxon. So not a bad collection. They could have done a bit more with the artwork, pretty basic artwork. Sort of generic Saxon sign there that they always used, same as Maiden, that became like that S was the Saxon thing. So yeah, there we go, greatest hits of Saxon, or best of Saxon. Next up, another band from the UK, same genre, started a long time before Saxon. British Steel from Judas Priest. But this is the 30th anniversary deluxe edition. So I'm very happy to have in my greasy paws. Somebody gave this to me. I'm trying to remember who gave this to me. It's a 3-disc set which includes a DVD of complete album performed live in Europe in 2009 plus bonus tracks. And you get a 30-minute interview with the band with all 4 original band members. 15-track CD taken from a live show, and the original album remastered, and 20-page booklet with new liner notes. So this is the legacy edition of British Steel, one of the best albums Priest ever made. This is coming apart here. I need to glue this down. It's the only thing I hate about these. They once you've taken them in and out a few times, they tend to come loose. Anyway, it doesn't get too fussy. So this is on Sony Music. There's the back. There's all the songs and the DVD and what have you. take it out, and it unfolds like this. See if I can show you. Ugh. There we go, there's the two CDs. There's sort of industrial scenes at the back there, because Judas Priest, of course, are from Birmingham, an industrial part of the UK. Here's the booklet that you get. There we go. Starts off with that. That's at the back. Some great live shots of the band. At that stage, Glenn Tipton was still okay. Now he's got Parkinson's, so he doesn't really play much with the band anymore. And of course, KK Downing was still in the band. He's long since left. Richie Faulkner is now the other band. The other guitarist. I'm saying, I haven't even had a drink this evening. There we go. There's some great live shots. Rob, pre the silver beard. He's still got the ginger beard there, I think. Scott Travis on drums, KK Downing, Glenn Tipton, Ian Hill. And so that's the lineup. Excellent stuff. There's Rob on his Harley. Still doing his thing there. I think he still does it today. Some more live shots. Tells you about the album and the DVD and what have you. As you get to these legacy editions, there's some more live shots. KK and Glenn. There's a great one there. So this is, and the sound quality is really good. They're all taking a bow. And so Rob Halford on vocals, Glenn Tipton guitars, KK Downing guitars, Ian Hill bass guitars, and Scott Travis on drums. Produced by Evan Hyman and John Carlo. Blah blah blah. Audio produced by Tom Allen. Tom Allen was their producer for many years. A whole bunch of people in the crew. Tells you all about that. So that you get on the booklet. So let's just run through the tracks and the DVD. So what have we got on here? So the remastered CD, and I mean, if you don't know British Steel, then it's well worth checking this album out. For me, it's probably my top 5 Judas Priest. Rapid fire, that really fast-paced intro to an album, which you can't get. I mean, you don't want anything more than that. That just screams metal at you. This came out in 1980. It's pretty heavy for the day. Then it goes into Metal Gods. It's a sort of that track, Rapid Fire, goes straight into Metal Gods, and that became such an iconic track with a great riff. Then, of course, Breaking the Law, a song that I don't need to hear ever again. I mean, it made them a lot of money, it was a big hit, yada yada yada, but it's kind of cheesy, and the music video for that was awful. I mean, I don't know if that was done on a budget of like £100. I don't know if you've seen it, but they're driving around in a car, and then they go and rob a bank with cardboard guitars, and it's just, it's terrible. Anyway, that's Breaking the Law. Then you get Grinder, which is one of the deep tracks on the album, which is really cool. Excellent. And the song actually sounds like the title. The guitar is just grinding in it. Some great drumming from Dave Holland on this album. He was still a drummer at that stage, of course. He's long since passed. And now, then you get United, which is sort of a sing-along song, another song that I can do without. It's okay. And then they got a track which I don't think they can really sing anymore, because you don't have to be old to be wise. Well, I mean, Rob Halford is, 70-something? A lot of the other guys, also Ian Hill must be in his 70s. I'm not sure if he could sing that song anymore. Living After Midnight, another big hit from the album. Almost like a danceable kind of track, that. The Rage and Steeler, the last 2 tracks on the album, are the best. They save the best for last. The guitar work and the drumming and the whole 9 yards. The Ian Hill and Dave Holland on the rhythm section are just so locked in. I'm trying to think, one of them, I think it's The Rage. Or is it Grinder? No, it's The Rage, I think. Starts off with Ian Hill on the bass. Just the bass. And I don't think he got a chance to do too much of that in his career with Judas Priest. Excellent stuff. Then Steeler is the last track. And there's 2 bonus tracks on here. Red, White and Blue, which is okay. And Grinder Live, which is okay. That's a bonus track on here. Then you got the 30th Anniversary Live. So it's all of those tracks live. Plus you get The Ripper, Hell Patrol, Victim of Changes, of course, KK Downing showpiece. Freewheel Burning, Diamonds and Rust, and You've Got Another Thing Coming. So that's on the live CD. And then on the live DVD, which is a really cool show, Rob Alford comes up with his denim jacket on, what have you. You get the whole album. So they basically play the whole of British Steel live. Metal Gauze, yes, hello, yes, what do you want? Yeah, I'm talking here. You're so rude. So it's pretty much the same as the live CD. That's the DVD. So there we go. Judas Priest, British Steel, the Legacy Edition. Great stuff. Classic British metal. You're going to be a nuisance now. Yes, you are. It's amazing. As soon as you know, if you're not doing a video, the cat's not here, the dog's not here. As soon as you start doing something, they have to be there. What are you doing? What's going on? Second last one I'm going to show you, Change of Pace, an album that I got many years ago up in Joburg. I think I was still in the army and I was on a pass. No, I wouldn't have been in the army. This came out in 78, or maybe this came out in 78. I was in the army in 81, 82. So yeah, it's quite possible. I think it was in a Look and Listen or something up in Joburg. Anyway, way back. Santana's album Inner Secrets, which had a bunch of hits on this album, very different to early Santana, which was more the sort of psychedelic, very much the 70s vibe, you know, the Woodstock era of Santana. This is more commercial. Excellent guitar work still from Carlos. The band at this stage was a great lineup. See if I can get to there's the guys at the back, some of the other guys, and there's the rest of the band. Quite a big band. Let me just see if I can get to the band members. There's a shot of some of them. There's the rest of them, looking like they're falling asleep. Or maybe they're stoned. Sure, it must say somewhere who's in the band. Yes, here we go. Diva Deep, Carlos Santana, lead and rhythm guitar. Greg Walker, lead vocals and background vocals. Brilliant singer. I really like his style in the band. I think he was with them originally on the album Moonflower, which came out the year before in 77. Graham Lear on drums, brilliant drummer. I mean, this band's always had great musicians, no matter who's been in the band. David Morgan on bass, solid bassist. Chris Solberg on rhythm and lead guitar and organ. Chris Ryan on keyboards and synthesizers. Raul Rico on congas and percussion. Armando Porraza on bongos and percussion. And Pete Escovedo in timbales and percussion. Produced by Dennis Lampert and Brian Potter. Yeah, there we go. So the tracks, and I remember going to the discos here in Cape Town and dancing to a whole bunch of these tracks. Really big in 78. Dealer, Spanish Rose starts off, so it's a sort of a double, two-part song. Some great guitar work. You know, it's one of those albums that once you've listened to it, the songs stick in your head and you find yourself humming along to it afterwards. Move On is the second track. My favorite, One Chain Don't Make No Prison. And if I'm not mistaken, that's a cover. I think that's written by somebody else. I know I say if I'm not mistaken, but it's because I'm often mistaken. Especially in my advanced years. Sort of a mellow track called Stormy with some really great vocals from Greg Walker. And then the biggest song on the album, biggest hit, Well Alright, which I think did pretty big things on the charts for Santana at the time. And this is long before Supernatural and all those Grammy Awards. So, yeah, they had some big selling albums prior to that. Another big song off here, Open Invitation. Some really nice guitar from Carlos and Wah-Wah, really good stuff. Then you got another two-part, Life is a Lady, Stroke Holiday. The Facts of Love, and then finally track 9, Wham. Great album if you're into Santana. Like I said, it's very different to the early Santana, like Abraxas and albums like that. This is very different, more commercial, radio friendly, but still well produced, and like I said, very memorable tracks. Inner Secrets. And then finally a band from Sweden. I think they're from Sweden. A band called Graveyard, and this album called Hisingen Blues. I think that's how you say it. Came out in 2011. So what do these guys like? Well, it's on the Nuclear Blast label, by the way. Nuclear Blast label. So let's it slowly. Stoner, bit of psychedelic, blues rock. Just a good band. Great singer. Some of the songs are quite hectic, up tempo. Then they slow it down a bit. Yes, I know. There we go. There's the band. There's a couple more photographs. Let's leave it. I like that artwork. I think that's Swedish. I think they're either Sweden or Norway. I'm not too sure. I think it's Sweden. Joachim Nilsson on vocals and guitar, Richard Edlund on bass, Axel Sjoberg on drums, and Jonathan La Rocca Ram on guitar. I really hope I've said that correctly. Apologies if I haven't. Additional musicians, Petrus Friedstadt plays Hammond on Longing. There's some great Hammond B3 work on here. That's where you get that whole retro vibe with this band, harking back to the sort of Deep Purple, not that kind of style, but with a Hammond organ. Back in the 70s, everybody was using it. And then Niels Dahl plays piano on The Longing and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so let's see if there's anything else I can show you. That's just pictures of the band. This opens up. I'm sure that has some kind of meaning. Don't ask me what. Here's the guys with the dog. That's quite a cool shot. And then you get this shot again. I would imagine this would look really good on vinyl. I got this from a very good friend of mine, Paul Knott, sadly passed away some time back. He sent me some incredible music. I had no idea about this band. They are still a going concern, and I think they've done about 5 albums. This is one of the earlier ones, Hissingen Blues. Did pretty good stuff for them. Ain't Fit to Live Here is the first track. No Good Mr. Holden. Hissingen Blues, the title track. There's some really upfront bass on this album as well. It's quite raw in parts, but that's nice for you want sometimes, you don't want something that's too refined, something that's quite earthy. This is a band for that. Buying Truth, Longing, Ungrateful Are the Dead, RSS, The Siren, and Cooking Brew, which is a bonus track on here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The bonus track is the 10th track. Not really that long. 6 minutes is the longest track. 6 minutes 11. Good band, Graveyard. Check them out. Like I said, I think there's about 5 albums on there. This one's on Nuclear Blast. I'm not sure if they've changed labels. But I still love that cover. That's the water there. There's a band, and you can see what's under the water is all sorts of strange stuff. So there we go. What I've been listening to of late. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Slightly longer than my normal. I thought, what the hell? You'll get sick of my ugly face eventually. If too much, switch off halfway. What I also wanted to mention was, and I keep failing to do this, I'm on radio as well. I'm a DJ on a radio station called Rebel Rock Radio here in South Africa. It's an internet radio station. So you can just Google Rebel Rock Radio. What I'll do in the description down below is I'll give the link to the station. And I have a show on a Wednesday evening between 7 and 10 in the evening here in South Africa called Richard's Rock Rambles. Hey, what the hell? Stick with what you know. So, and what do I play? Well, I play progressive rock, I play metal, I play blues, I play classic rock. That's pretty much what I play. I play new releases as well. I have a feature on most shows, like in the final hour. I might do a feature on Rory Gallagher, or I might do a feature on whatever, Led Zeppelin or Saxon, or whatever my fancy takes me. So, yeah, please tune in on a Wednesday between 7 and 10, like I mentioned. A great station, Rebel Rock Radio. Excellent DJs, all sorts of rock, from light to heavy to old to new, you name it, Rebel Rock Radio's got it. And yeah, the guys are very knowledgeable, all know their stuff. Yours truly included, blow my own trumpet. So yeah, there we go. I just thought I'd mention that. And please down below as well, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Any comments, more than welcome. Love to hear from you guys. And if you're a regular, thank you for watching. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. That'll be great for the channel. Take it easy. Getting ready for another day of rain tomorrow, like I mentioned. And yeah, look after yourselves, and I'll catch you soon. Oh, I almost forgot. I normally go out on YouTube on a Thursday. I'm changing that to Sundays. So this particular video has gone out on Sunday the 25th, and then it'll be every 2 weeks after that. So every second Sunday. Just gives the guy that does the editing for me more time during the week to work on the show and what have you, because he's got a day job, and sometimes it's a bit of a rush if it's on a Thursday. So yeah, so it'll be on a Sunday now instead of a Thursday. That's me. I'm out of here. Cheers guys, take it easy. Bye bye.